Gaza is at breaking point, says the UN. Almost 2 million people have been driven from their homes by Israeli forces. In Deir al-Balah, the mosque was bombed with such force that the Jaffa hospital next door was put out of action. The US warned Israel again that it was killing too many civilians. Targeted or indiscriminate attacks on civilians are a war crime. Israel said it launched 450 strikes in the last 24 hours. It sent out these pictures of its men assaulting Hamas inside a school near Gaza City. Another video released by Hamas shows a dead hostage and what it said was the bloody aftermath of a failed Israeli raid to free him. At the UN in New York, the Secretary General requested an immediate ceasefire, telling the Security Council that Hamas violations of the laws of war did not excuse Israel's.
There is a high risk of the total collapse of the humanitarian support system in Gaza, which would have devastating consequences. We anticipate that it would result in a complete breakdown of public order and increased pressure for mass displacement into Egypt. I fear the consequences could be devastating for the security of the entire region.
But the US rejected his warnings and vetoed the ceasefire resolution. It is giving Israel more time to destroy Hamas.
Our goal should not simply be to stop the war for today. It should be to end the war forever, break the cycle of unceasing violence, and build something stronger in Gaza and across the Middle East so that history does not keep repeating itself.
Back in Gaza, Israeli troops posted more video on social media of their roundup of hundreds of Palestinian men, allegedly Hamas suspects. The men were ordered to leave their families at a UN shelter, stripped to their underwear, and had their hands tied before being driven away for interrogation. Israel still hasn't beaten Hamas in northern Gaza. Fighting continues in an urban wasteland. The BBC traced the video to Israeli soldiers who deleted it after it went viral. The way hundreds of thousands of Palestinians in Gaza are being forced to live was filmed by a freelance journalist working for the BBC. Atta Abu Kharar is sheltering in a tent made of plastic sheets in the grounds of a hospital in Deir al-Balah, in the middle area of Gaza. Gaza's people are at serious risk of starvation and famine, according to the Secretary General. He said the UN could no longer help them under current conditions. Atta Abu Kharar said he's trying to get his kids to forget the good food they used to like.
I don't know what to tell you. The only thing we have to eat is tea with no sugar. The only 3 words we hear from our children are hungry, cold, thirsty. And we would rather die than see them get sick.
The Israelis destroyed the historic Omari Mosque in Gaza City. They are ignoring US warnings that so much destruction and death could push Palestinians into the arms of Hamas, and the US cannot block a ceasefire indefinitely. Jeremy Bowen, BBC News, Jerusalem.